Since 1986, Africa's longest-running war has been raging in northern Uganda, between the Ugandan government and the rebel group called the Lord's Resistance Army. From both sides of the war, innocent people have been the primary victims of conflict. 50,000 children have been abducted throughout the war, boys turned into child soldiers, girls forced into sexual slavery. The war has been labeled the most neglected humanitarian emergency in the world today. Beginning in 1996, government soldiers used brutal force to move 2 million people into internally displaced persons camps for what they claimed to be their protection. But the terrible conditions of the camps proved otherwise. There was little to no access to education, income, water, or food. After peace talks were opened in 2006, people were finally able to leave the camps and return to their homes after a decade of displacement. But the war proved so detrimental to the education system of Uganda that more schools were closed than remained open during the time of war. Many people cannot leave the camps because there are no longer schools where they came from, even though there has been peace in the area for over 3 years. As of February in 2009, 700,000 people still remained in the camps. Today, the average age in Uganda is 15 years old. Deaths from conflict and AIDS have made Uganda the youngest country in the world. In one district of northern Uganda, over 15,000 children are orphans, while parents of over 10,000 children cannot afford scholastic materials like uniforms and pens. But in one village of northern Uganda, hope for a bright future remains. In Kitgum District, where conflict was the worst and 98% of its population was displaced, the people of a village called Padibe East have taken matters into their own hands. They have set up a school called Kwoncok, which in English means literally near food, with a volunteer teacher who teaches with their baby on her back and a group of 32 children, 50% of whom are war orphaned, and nearly the same percentage of whom are infected with HIV/AIDS. They understand that life must go on, and education is the only way to bring a future to this generation made up of children, a generation that would otherwise be lost. While the community has set up a temporary structure, it only accommodates a small number of children, and the structure itself has been eaten away by termites. The roof leaks and there is little ventilation. While volunteering in Uganda in the fall of 2009, David Upjohn, an American student at the University of Notre Dame, was approached by elders of this community and asked if he could raise the money to build a permanent primary school structure for them. By fundraising on his own through an umbrella organization, the project has been able to be approached in a unique way on a completely grassroots level. The benefits of this grassroots approach are reflected in the project's ability to involve the community. After meetings with district officials, village elders, and community land officers, 6 acres of land was signed to Kwoncok Primary School. A local contractor was hired and local materials were gathered by community members to reduce construction costs. With the permanent structure in place, Kwoncok Primary School will accommodate up to 300 children from primary school grades 1 through 4 who would otherwise not have schooling or would have to walk over 5 kilometers each way to and from school. For just $30,000, we can construct 2 classroom blocks, storage space for school materials and books, a head teacher's office, a restroom for boys, a restroom and changing room for girls, and a soccer field. To provide clean water for the village, we will also be constructing a borehole water source. Along with safe water, this will provide the school with self-sustainability, as the funds made from the water source will be used for school fees, scholastic materials, and structural maintenance. To provide food security for the children, an agricultural empowerment program will be run as part of the school curriculum. By setting up an agricultural education, we will be providing the children with food for today and ensuring that they will be near food for the rest of their lives.